Holding Siman, Senior Aleph, Seif Aleph. We started last week a little bit. So this Siman is talking about you have a mace of that person that's in a place where the fire or the sun. So what's halacha? So the Mechaber says, Meisha muta b'mokim sheyari Allah mepnei adleika. He's scared that it may end up burning the mace. If you have a piece of bread or a child, you can be metaltal through them, meaning you put the kikar atinik on top of the mace or on the same bed as the mace, and then you move it. And we saw last week that this heter is not a real heter of muktzah. It's not a heter that becomes a basis. It's a way where it's mutter to move it anyway if you have no choice. But we said try to do it in the best way possible. So it looks like
because it covered the mace.
Because it covered the mace, we'll see when Mekel that since you put the kikar atinik, Mr. Bruce says it looks like as if you're moving it for the kikar atinik.
Obviously, the kikar and the tinik are not there in Bein HaShamash.
Yeah, correct. You put it there on Shabbos.
On Shabbos.
Yeah, you put it there on Shabbos.
That's kind of part of the.
Yeah, that's why it's not mutter, the regular case. So, and here we're talking about also for Adleika, we're talking about for the fire. Now, we'll see soon that there's two cases here in the Mechaber. The first case is with Adleika, it's the fire is coming towards the mace, and the second case is a case of a Meita Mutal B'chama. He's just lying in the sun, and he's going to rot because of the heat. Because of the heat of the sun. So here, there's another, besides the covered mace, there's also something called Adam Bahol Amesa. A person is very bold. I say bold. He's distraught. Yeah, he's going to do things because of it, and it may end up putting out the fire. That's what we worry about over here by Adleika. So by Adleika, by a fire, there's more coolness because of this chash that if you're not going to be matneh to do something, he may end up just putting out the fire. So b'fnei Adleika we say, if there is no kikar atinik, and you have no way to move him with a kikar atinik, if you have two beds, they used to keep the mitas, the mason on a bed or a stretcher. To have a tiltum in atzad. So you go to the next heter, which is a little bit less of a heter, tiltum in atzad. You don't carry him, you just turn him over from stretcher to stretcher, and that's called tiltum min hatzad.
And that's like tipping him over?
Tipping him over. Tipping over from stretcher to stretcher, and then it's called tiltum min hatzad. Even though we have learned before that tiltum min hatzad, the tzarech davar ha'asr, to be metaltal is for the davar ha'asr here. The tiltum min hatzad is for the mace. So it's tiltum min hatzad, the tzarech davar ha'asr we saw is asr, you're not allowed to do that. Here we'll make it because of the mace.
But what about you're turning him over and moving him over?
Yeah, that's we're not making on that. Because as long as you get him out from the fire, that's good enough.
We're not talking here like we're rolling him from bed to bed to bed. It's basically rolling him from one bed to the next, and then the second one.
No, from bed to the fourth one. From bed to bed.
Second to the fourth.
What do you gain if you're rolling to the second? Tiltum min hatzad. Tiltum min hatzad. You don't carry him.
The second bed is not a buses. The second bed is not a bus.
No, we're not talking about buses, okay.
How many buses?
We're not talking about buses. We'll see in a second if the bed's a buses or not.
You need only two.
It's not a problem for the buses. It's a buses. If the bed's a buses, then you can't even.
No, so I thought the story was the first bed on which he died on is a buses. So the second one is not a buses because you don't create a buses on Shabbos.
And that's called tiltum min hatzad, and as far as you want, you can move it.
Yeah.
The problem with that is it's a machlokes if the bed is a buses or not.
The first one or the second one?
The first one.
No, but let's say the first one is.
Yeah, but here we're going.
But the second one is for sure not.
I hear what you're saying, but if you're going to say what you're saying, that means everyone agrees in the Mechaber that the first bed is a basis. So the reason why you be mehapach it is to get out of the problem of bosses,
Right.
and now you have only tiltum and outside.
Right.
It's only buses if he died Erev Shabbos.
Let's say died Erev Shabbos. Right. The problem over here is that we'll see in the Magen Avraham as machlokes if the first bed is a bosses.
It's boring not to call it a bus.
Whatever, we'll get this far in a second. But let's say the first bed is not a bosses, right?
And then I get it.
So then the whole chaber is not true. She'afchenu mitul mita won't be true.
Right.
So I'm saying it has to be that Rafchenu mitul mita is less of a tiltum min atzad than carrying it directly outside. Because if you're going to learn, we just tried to get out of the bosses of the first bed,
Right.
then you have to say the first bed is the bosses.
Right.
And no one could say the Magen Avraham can't bring down a machlokes if the first bed is the bosses, because the Mechaber obviously holds the first bed is the bosses.
I mean, that's how you could be machri anyways. Even though you could say two things. One is that it happened before Shabbos, and two, that in this machlekes, whether even that you want to be makil, right, the Magen Avraham is going to bring, Mechaber doesn't hold to that. He says that is and you would be a Muslim. Now, it's an exception to say that a person who died on a bed before Shabbos would be not a basis.
No, there wouldn't be any case. According to the Magen Avraham, the shita that brings down one shita that it's not a basis, the bed will never become a basis.
If you hold like that shita, but if you don't hold like that shita, then you'll have a basis.
Okay, so that means the Mechaber holds that there is a basis. You being right, the Mechaber holds that the bed becomes a basis.
Right.
And the Magen Avraham brings down a machlokes about it. Or is it to say the Mechaber holds that the bed is a basis?
It's a basis, and that's how you. And then your tiltal is that you bring it from bed one.
So basis, not basis.
And then you can take it to a.
Yeah, but I'm saying, so why is the Magen Avraham bringing down a machlokes if there's a basis over here? He brings down the Magen Avraham brings down a shita that there is no basis.
Right.
If you tell him the only pshat is the afchenu mitul mita is that it's a basis, then everyone has to agree that it's a basis. Even more, forget the Mechaber, it's a Gemara. The Gemara says afchenu mitul mita. If you're going to say the reason why you're being mahapech from mitul mita is because the first one's a basis, and I want to get rid of the basis, then it's a Gemara, not like the Balamot. Right? Is that what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. But so I mean we've seen before. So you don't hold like the Balamor.
Yeah, but it's a Gemara.
It's a shita from wherever.
But it's a Gemara.
So
the Gemara says.
How did the Balamor learn the Gemara?
No, very good. It's not a basis, but you have chedel and mita. Why? Because you don't want to carry it directly.
So his idea is that you keep rolling it.
Yeah, I think it's everyone's idea. I think everyone agrees to that. That's child the Gemara. 2 beds. You put one, you put the next one beside it,
and you keep moving all right. Yeah. Versus flipping it to the next
second, and then using the second one to take it out. Yeah, you can't say. Is this the first one? No, let's say before. Kamat Bara means everyone agrees that from one bed to the next bed, and that's the way you take it out. And that's less totem and outside than carrying it with the mace on it. Carrying it with the mace on it, we've had before that near is less totem and outside than totem and outside. Right, to shake something off is less of a totem and outside than to carry it with it on it. Even though they're both really totem and outside, but one is near and one is carrying it. Here we only make the avchenu with
carrying it, even totem and outside has to be over at tzarech hamuter. Right?
Right, even near has to be tzarech hamuter. Look, most achraim. So that's why I think avchenu mitul miti here means you can't turn it over from one bed to the next bed till you get it to where you want it to go.
The Mishnah brings up that if the person was high ben hashmushas, then it becomes a different.
Yeah, it's not a basis. Yeah. Then everyone agrees it's not a basis. It's also a thing because here, Pashas is talking about both cases, even if it's a chai ben hashmushas. So says avchenu mitul mita. If you're going to say that the avchenu mitul mita is secluded to the heter of to get rid of the bosses, you're going to run into issues. Because chai is going to be a problem. Because chai ben hashmushas, the balmor is going to be an issue. That's why I think it's better to learn that avchenu mitul mita means you can't start turning it over from one bed to the next bed till you get it out.
Would there be a sheet that holds that it is a basis?
Yeah.
You still have to be avchenu mitul mita over and over again because it's something inside.
Yeah.
But there is a basis too.
There's only the first one.
What's that?
Only the first one, yeah. Yeah, still matter. Correct. Still matter.
So if the person dies on Shabbos, then there's no buses for sure.
Right.
And he's on a bed, so then...
You have chener mittel mitzvah still. If you have no kikar tilik, still you have chener mittel mitzvah. The point where you want to learn...
We're saying that would be better than... It's better than
being carrying him straight out. Right.
Carrying him straight out.
Even though there's no buses.
Even though there's no buses, right. But you want to learn, when you were learning is, the whole din of chener mittel mitzvah is to get rid of the din buses. Yeah.
That's the case.
It's not that way. Because if it's chai, there's no buses.
The problem would be the Balamor.
Yeah, the Balamor is a problem, and also chai. The Mechaber still never is chai.
It wouldn't be talking about a chai.
So, doctor, for me, it was Meis Benish Moshes.
Correct.
Okay?
That's not a problem. So this whole business is only Benish Moshes.
Okay, it's in Kimta. Yeah.
And
you can't say you don't hold the Balamor. Because the Balamor, this is Gemara. The Gemara says you have chener mittel mitzvah. How's the Balamor going to learn that Gemara?
But on the other side, when we learn about the Tinuk or the
Kikar Tinuk,
we say, or any Davra Mutter.
Right.
So the bed is Davra Mutter. Not about this. So you can take the bed out. So why don't you just take the mace out on the bed and not worry about all this whole...
No, because when you carry the bed with the mace, it doesn't look like you're doing it for the bed. The head of Kikar Tinuk is, it looks like you're moving it for the Kikar Tinuk. Not because you're moving the double header also. It looks like you're doing it also for the double header. But the bed with the mace, it doesn't look like you want to get the bed out. Right? Everyone knows the bed is there only for the mace. It doesn't look like you're moving the bed out.
so by adding the kicker, it no longer looks like,
yeah, you're right.
Like you're moving the bed.
But it's also a double header.
You always move people like that.
Also with a double header. Yeah, it's a chiddush big header.
When you put on the header of the kicker.
But when you want to put on the Shabbat the light, you move the house. You don't move the light.
The table, and you move 5 people move the table around, and the guy moves.
Okay, so that's the second thing to do. If you don't have kicker tinner, you metaltaloi, you aidesh avchem amitul amito, taltotum and atzad, them ein loy loy zeh veloy zeh. If you don't have a second mita, second bed to be mehapechet the mitul amito, then metaltaloi tiltul gomer, then you could be metaltalit a regular tiltul. Why? Because the fact Leika will matter even to move it directly without kicker tinuk and without yavchen or mitul amita.
But this is motor reshut.
Yeah, we'll get there in a second. We'll get to the Chol Shabbat just in a second. Let's leave it half an hour. Let's see the Magen Avraham first.
Titul Gomer, is that the mace or the bed with the mace?
Even the mace. Even the mace directly. It says the Magen Avraham Siman Aleph.
If the issue is covered on mace, isn't Titul Gomer more kavadik than moving from bed to bed to bed?
Because you're assuming that you have to bed to bed is such a zilzal in the race, so therefore do it directly. We're not matter everything. We'll see soon. We're not matter everything. Here we'll only matter it's covered on mace because you may end up putting out the fire. We're not matter it's covered on mace everything. We'll see by Chama. It's in the sun. We're not matter too. Even Lafchen or Mittel Mittel, we're not matter. It's covered a mace. The mace is going to rot. We're not matter it. We're not matter everything because it's covered a mace. Here we spoke at the beginning, here we have also a head to the Adam Baal HaMeisai. He may end up putting out the fire. But without him putting out the fire, we'll see by Chama, we're not matter all types of tilting. Only Kikar Tinnik will matter.
So why we make a more oichel, for example, than Kavod Mes? Something that we do on our table we don't like, and we have a heter to get. It's not. I'm not talking about the. I'm talking about the oichel of the psolet.
What is grafsharei?
Yeah. So we're very.
Okay, so we'll see in Tibet. We'll see in Tibet. Here we're not talking about that it's bothering the chayim. Here we're talking about it's a problem for the mace. It's not bothering the living.
But if it
bothers the living, we'll see. We'll see It's something else. We'll get to that. Yeah, here we're not talking about that it's bothering the people who are around. It's only for the mace. Says the Magen Avraham Sifkan Alf Hayedehem, Perish Menichai Etzloi Metaltal Ima. You put the Kigar Tinner next to him, and then you metaltal the mace with them. Sifkan Beish Yavchenu, V'mhoi Chai Ben Esmoshes, Mutter Metaltal Acha Kachamita. If the person died on Shabbos. So the meter, the bed, doesn't become a basis to the mace, ben hashmashis. So we know the cloud is, if a muktzah is put on something on Shabbos, it may be a basis only while the muktzah is on it. But once the muktzah comes off of it, then it's not a basis anymore. But if muktzah was on something ben hashmashis, there already we say that it's a basis l'chal ha-Shabbos. So here, if he died on Shabbos, after you take the mace off the bed, it's a mutal taltaloi amita l'nasa basis. Harash. V'ayin resh samach vav sivtes v'amor kosav tafilu hayamet ben hashmashis. Even if the person was dead ben hashmashis, l'nasa hamita basis. The ein hamita tzricha l'meis. Chol atzma yitzarch la'tila ela agavi karka k'letran shem tenakar mitachtav. So the Baal HaMor, which is a cloud in basis, the Baal HaMor says something doesn't become a basis unless you need it to be mishamish what's on it. Here you have a mace on a bed. If you need the bed for the mace becomes a basis. But if you don't need the bed for the mace, then the bed does not become a basis. And here he says you would rather the mace be a gavikarka. Because it's an you try to leave the mace on the karka, it's better for the mace to be on the karka than on a bed. So here, you'd rather the mace not be on the bed. Therefore says the Baal HaMor, the bed does not become a basis to the mace. But it has to be that you would rather the mace not be on the bed. You have a lot of times you put something down. We spoke about it, right? If you put something down on a table, or so if you put it down, not realizing it haphazardly, then it may not become a basis because you don't need a table for the Davar Muktzah. If you put it down because you wanted it to be there, then it becomes a basis. Similar over here. The mace, even though it's on the meter, you don't need the mace on the meter. The reason why he's on the meter is because when he was alive, he was on the bed. But once he's dead, you don't need him on the bed anymore. So therefore the Baal HaMor says the bed is not a basis, even though he was mace bein hashmashis. So two things. First of all, after the mace is off, you're allowed to move the bed. And second of all, even when the mace is on it, there's no problem of moving it because the meter is not a basis of davar asar.
So it's according to Baal HaMor, you can just do tiltul gomor. No, you still have to do.
Still tiltul outside.
Right, so you still have to do.
Correct.
You still have to come down the.
Kikar tidik, and if not that, then tiltul outside.
You have to come down the.
Right. Okay, says the Mechaber Vayter, that's all by taking off that. Like a v'chol zeh ba'oitzer rishus. All that, says the Mechaber, is only in the rishus that the mace is in. You're not allowed to carry the mace out into a carmelis, a different rishus. Now, even though carrying it to a different rishus may also be an issur d'Rabbanan, we just said you're allowed to be metaltal the mace directly if you have no other eitzah. That's a total muktzah. It's a d'Rabbanan. Still, you're now allowed to take him to a different rishus, even though taking him to another rishus is only an issur d'Rabbanan, still you're not allowed to do it. That's what the Mechaber says. We'll see why in the morning of Rome. Let's just finish off the Mechaber here.
Not moving to Rishus Rabbah?
No, even a Carmelis.
Carmelis is not a question. That's a Drabbanan.
Right, even a Drabbanan. Even at the Rabbanan, you're not allowed to do it. Even to a Carmelis, you're not allowed to do it. You're not allowed to bring it to another Rishus, whether it's a Carmelis, whether it's a Chodesh Animal Reves. You didn't make a Ruba Chetzeris with the next Rishus. You're not allowed to bring it out to a different Rishus. You're not allowed to be over at Issa D'Rabbanan. We'll see why in a second. What's the chiluk between Haitzah, carrying him out, and Tilta, which is also a Din D'Rabbanan Muktzah. And not everyone agrees to it. We'll get to that in a second. But Meis HaMutal B'Chamo, there's a mace that's lying in the sun. Metalploi Mechamo L'Tzeil, Ba'oisei Rishus, also only in that Rishus, Ayadei Kikar HaTinuk. Only with the Kikar HaTinuk, V'im Ein Lai Kikar HaTinuk, Lo Yitaltalenu Klal, Afilu L'Havchem Emita L'Mita. Why? The Tiltal Minatzad, Shmei Tiltal. It's called Tiltal Minatzad, and we're not matter it when it's lying in the sun. We're only matter it if not Leika. And the reason for this is because by it later we're worried that you may end up putting out the fire. The ball so you may end up putting out the fire. Over here, when it's lying in the sun, what are you worried about? If If you're not matching him to move it, right, he can't do anything. He's not going to do anything. He can't get rid of the sun. By Adleika, he may put out the fire. So we'll make him more by Adleika because of other Baal al Mesai, and therefore matter, even though there's no kicker, tinnik, you can do tiltum outside, or you can move it directly, Masha'enkein, when it's a mutal b'chama, but not matter.
But you can cover the mat if it's in the chama, like put something that will stop the sun.
Cover it. Yeah, that you could do.
That we can do.
Yeah. Okay, so that's Seif Aleph. Let's see the Magen Avraham Sifkat and Gimel. So the Magen Avraham says, "Ba'oser Rishus." He only let him move the mace in that Rishus. There, Kosav Rabbi Seif, with the Kosav Rambam, the Nafla Dleika B'Chotzah Sheyesh B'Mace. The Beisetzer is writing it from the Lashon Rambam that it says a fire was started in a Chotzah Sheyesh B'Mace Mashmad Loitziai Oser. You're not allowed to take him out. The Leka Hacha B'Zoyin HaMace Kishanisraf. If it gets burnt, it's not called B'Zoyin HaMace. That's what the Magen Avraham says. Not everything is B'Zoyin HaMace. Because if it get burnt, it's not called a B'Zoyin. V'Shem Tam Di L'Sharis Lei. Also the Chabuyei Lei Sharir Haitzah. We're not Mater Haitzah. We're Mater Tilto, but we're not Mater Haitzah. Haitzah will more Machmaron. But Kolshkim the Manda Amar Shemalacha Sheitzich L'Gufa Pater. What it means here is that putting out the fire is what? What type of issue is that? Putting out fire is Mr. Daraisa? No. It's not supported. Putting out a fire is Mr. Daraisa? Machaber. Putting out. It's one of the Avos Malachas. It's putting out a fire.
For the charcoal.
Oh, so there, it's a shadow. Why you're putting out the fire? Machaber, that's an Issa Daraisa, is only when you're doing it because you're doing it for a benefit. You want, let's say, you have a candle burning, and you put out the fire because you want the wick to burn better. So you put it out and you relight it, it lights better. So putting out the fire, Mechaber, is only an Issa D'Oraisa when you're doing it for a gain. Because you want, through putting out the fire, you're gaining that now that you have the charcoal, you have the wick is burned better.
Is that not the Mafakis between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon and Malach Hashem?
No, that's not. That's when you're doing it for the thing itself. Everyone agrees that it's a D'Oraisa. Putting out a fire because you don't want the fire, that's where the Malach is. That's Malacha Shein Tzricha L'Gufo. You don't need the putting out the fire. That's the case when you do it because you want the wick to light better.
No, Malach Shein Tzricha L'Gufo. No, it's taking out a mace to another rishon.
Right. So yeah. We'll get to that. The mace. But Malach Shein Tzricha L'Gufo, when you're putting out a fire, not because you want the wick, just because you don't want the fire, that's called the Malacha Shein Tzricha L'Gufo. I don't need the Malacha. What exactly it means is a big machlokes in the Rishonim. Maybe we'll get to it later on. But Malacha Shein Tzricha L'Gufo basically means you don't need to put out the fire because you need something from it. You don't want the fire to be there. Right? You need the outcome. You don't need the outcome. You just don't want the fire to be there. But if you need the outcome, that's already mechaber. That's an Issa D'Oraisa. So Malacha Shein Tzricha L'Gufo, by a regular fire that's burning, and you're putting out the fire, that's called the Malacha Tzricha L'Gufo, and that's a machlokes of Yehuda and Shimon if it's pater or chayiv. It's a machlokes of Malacha Tzricha L'Gufo. So here he's saying, what are you worried about? You're worried that he's going to put out the fire. Putting out the fire in this case, you don't need the coals, you don't need the wicks. It's a Malacha Tzricha L'Gufo. Carrying the mace out is also Issa D'Rabbanan. So you have two Issa D'Rabbanans over here. Right? So he says, what are you going to say? Let him carry out the mace, because if not, he's going to put out the fire. Putting out the fire is also Issa D'Rabbanan. So why should you let him? Why should you worry about he may end up carrying it into a carmelis? Let him be over Issa D'Rabbanan. Why? That he shouldn't put out the fire. Putting out the fire is also Issa D'Rabbanan. Says the Magen Avraham, if you hold the Malacha Tzricha L'Gufo as pater, so then of course they're not going to be matter itself because it may end up putting it out because they're both Issa D'Rabbanan. Bayin says Siman Shin Lamadal. We bring down the machlokes to Malacha Tzricha L'Gufo. Avav B'Shev Mordechai Mashal Shev Leika Tirut Fei. The Leika Deo matter more. Harabe Seif l'Sfira lehachi. Like Mashkos Sif Beis and Mizbaza ben Achayim, that only when it's a problem because of the living people, then we are matter more. Im Yeshnam Mokum Lotzes, the Dafim for Kovar Achayim Shari. Kekos of Hedi Beisesim, Lochikos of Gamke Meis, Hamutul Bechama Bo'oitzer Rishos. Says the Bechaber here Bo'oitzer Rishos. Canal. The Loika or the Shabbos of Ramba Mashmash Adin Leika Bechama Shaber in this prat of carrying it out. So look at what the Magen Avraham here is saying is that there's some Rishonim that say that by a Dleika we're matter even to carry it out. And the Magen Avraham says, no, we're not matter to carry it out. Now,
did we answer that question? So why is Muktzah, which is Dragonim, not an issue?
They're more make about Muktzah than I saw. Why? I don't know why.
I thought we were going to...
No, that's what we're going to explain.
We don't have an answer for that.
We don't have an answer. Why they're more maker by tilta than I saw? I don't know why. Chazal said tilta, which is maybe is ikroi. Ikroi. Yeah, maybe it's ikroi midrabanan, so they'll makel. Haitzah, which is ikroi midaraisa, even though what I'm doing now is only drabanan, they're more machmer.
Yeah. You see that star in the next Siman.
Yeah, next we see the opposite. They're more maker by Haitzah than tilta.
Correct.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah. They speak about it. The Magen Avraham here is not like the Magen Avraham here. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that's Rabbi. The next week we'll see the opposite. But as of now, the Magen Avraham here is saying there are more mekel by tiltal than we are by itself. Right? That's what the Magen Avraham here is saying. So now, the Magen Avraham is saying, in Siman Beis, we are matter to carry it out. Says the Magen Avraham, in Siman Beis, we're only matter to carry it out because of Tzvot HaChayim. For the people that are alive. And if they're there and it's going to smell, that's going to bother them, then we'll make it and we'll let you carry it out into a carmelis, maybe a shusarabim, we'll see in Siman Beis.
But according to the Magen Avraham, what is more adif? Adif that basically that you don't do hatzah, basically.
We don't let you do hatzah.
You don't do hatzah.
Yeah, according to the Magen Avraham, it's you're not allowed to do hatzah.
Basically, you actually do nothing. You
no, you can move him in the chutzner itself. You can move him.
Yeah, because if there's a dleika...
Yeah, you're allowed to move him in the chutzner itself. Or if it's chama, you're allowed to move him into the house.
Right.
They shouldn't be in the sun. Like the kicker tinnik. But to move him outside of the chutzner, the Magen Avraham is saying, the Mechaber says, only ba'oiseh rishus, and not to the different rishus.
And you want to learn it that it's to a carmelis.
Give it to a carmelis, you can't.
Because maybe you could learn it that it's only to Rosh
Hashanah. No, I said just means half just means.
Right, because if you learn it to Rosh Hashanah,
yeah, that's going to say
would be much.
Yeah, but the Magen Avraham is not saying that. Magen Avraham is saying it's also to move it.
But the way you learn it, I mean, in other words, that's what it is. You can't take it out to Rosh Hashanah, but maybe to a carmelis you would be able to. But Harai and Siman Beis, you have this idea that you can move it.
Yeah, so Siman Beis, the Magen Avraham says it's talking about for a chayim.
Right.
For a chayim. For a chayim is different. For the chayim will make it to carry it out.
Right.
That's we'll see when we get to Siman Beis. There is a tailor in Siman Beis to carry it out. We'll leave Siman Beis for now. We'll get to it. But I just want to point out one thing in Siman Beis. In Siman Beis, the beginning of Siman Beis says, "Meisha shlich habayis v'nimtzim mispaza ben achayim v'hem mispaza memenu v'mutar l'tzir l'karmelis." So that'll bring it out in the karmelis. Now we'll get to the rest of the halacha say soon. And then at the end he says, "V'hu hadin," towards the end of the Mechaber, before the Ramah, "V'hu hadin and hu bebizoyin achar v'goyin tehoya b'svina v'hoyu ha'akim mis'ashtem shom v'chein kol k'yotze b'zeh." Says the Mechaber, the same thing will apply if he's in a svina and it's a bezoyin. Also, you're allowed to take him out into a carmelis. Here, in that part of the Mechaber, it's not talking about bezoyin ha'chayim.
Yeah.
It's talking about bezoyin ha'meis.
So the question is, why that should have been in halacha aleph?
That should have been halacha aleph. It's more. Here we see you're allowed to carry it out into a carmelis. So the Magen Avraham already is bothered by the kasha, and the Magen Avraham says in 3 words. Sifkat Yud Beis, Mis'ashvim Sham, V'hu B'zoyin Gadol. That's really a big B'zoyin HaMeis. So the Magen Avraham makes a chiluk between Sif Aleph and this part of Siman Beis. He holds Siman Beis is talking about Kvoid HaMeis. You're not allowed to carry it out. Sif Aleph, it's talking about Kvoid HaMeis, you're not allowed to carry it out. Siman Beis, that you're allowed to carry it out, is only for Kvoid HaChayim. This that the Mechaber says that in a svina where bezoyin hameis, you're allowed to carry it out. That's only by a bezoyin gadol. A big bezoyin hameis will make it even to carry it out.
How do you define?
I don't know. We'll say Allah again because the head of bezoyin gadol. The Achronim, we'll see now in the Taz, they say in Seif Aleph it's also mutter to carry it out to different rishus. They say even for Kloit HaMeis, you're allowed to carry it out to different rishus. They're coming from the Mechaber and Seif Beis. They said you're allowed to carry out to different rishus. So what do you do with Seif Aleph? It says the Cholzer Bois rishus. So let's see the Taz. It says the Taz, the Cholzer Bois rishus. Zet to Mu'am Oid, says the Taz. Tapella on the Mechaber. Taz Seif Khan Aleph. Why? Ta'achakach, later on, which means Seif Beis, Mishum Bezoyin L'chud, Hitiru Afulim Mishus Yafel L'Karmelis, allowed you to carry it out even to a Karmelis. V'kanya Aser, and here it's Aser, El Dafki Bois Rishus, only that Rishus. That means by Dleika we're more makel. Here by Dleika we're saying you're not allowed to carry it out to different rishus. And in Seif Beis we say just for Bezoyin, even without a Dleika, you're allowed to carry it out from Rishus Yochat or Karmelis. So he's bothered by the kasha. I guess he doesn't like the Magen Avram's chilik of Bezoyin Gadol, because where do you draw the line? It's the Toy Sefer in the Mechaber. You're allowed to carry it out even to a Karmelis. So the Taz holds Seif Aleph is talking about Tiltul. Seif Beis is talking about Haitzah. And Seif Beis is going even on Seif Aleph. V'chein hu ikar the time of the Gemara the Visharis Leviteksu Bol al Meitze Asa L'Chabuye. Im Kain Gam L'Shus Achad Yesh Heter Mikoyach Zeh. Why should there not be a heter for Yitzhak and Yitzhak Karmelis, and there is a heter of Tiltul? What should be the difference? Gam Moiri Chamizal, the Bach, the Shver, Toma al Shulchan Aruch Bezeh. Clearly, the high of a Cholzeh Bois Rishus. Now it's coming to say. Till now we said the Levush said to Toy Fatfus. Takes it out, erase those words. The Taz doesn't like that, so he tries to answer those words. And says the Taz, nearly the high v'chol zeh b'oisei rishus, hachi pirushay. Afilu b'oisei rishus, sarach l'chapes achar heter shezochar kiker. For the osir l'dyukei the rishus achar osir. What v'chol zeh b'oisei rishus means is, even in this rishus, you have to find the heter of kiker or tinuk, if you could. That's what it means to say. Little dachok in the Lashon.
In other words, you try, but you don't.
Right.
You know.
Well, maybe
try to kick it today.
Because the things you could answer is when he talks about it's only if you have to make tiltul double. And if you don't have to do tiltul double, maybe you don't. Maybe you.
And if tiltul gomer is only that rishus, if you mark the tiltul gomer, who cares if it's in the rishus or rishus acher?
Well, that's the whole point, because if you're doing already tiltul, full tiltul, then you go, okay. If you want to start doing it from maybe when you get to full tiltul,
the full back for a full tiltul, it's a different rishus. Why? Why should I do it for?
Because
we'll see in Seif Beis that it could be that when you're carrying it out from Shliach to Karmelis, it's machlokes, maybe you shouldn't have kikkar tivin. Because you're doing more, you should not have kikkar tivin.
Yeah, this is
because you're doing more Eitzah.
Right.
You're doing more Eitzah. We'll see it in Seif Beis.
Right.
So if anything, it's better from Shliach to Karmelis without kikkar tivin. So that's the machlokes Taz and the Magen Avram. The Mishnah Berurah L'maisa passes like the Taz. If you look here in the Mishnah Berurah over here, he says, Seif Katan Daled. Ba'oisei rishus, mashma mized l'rishus acher, osel ha'yitzia b'chol gavni. It's mashma from the Mechaber, Seif Katan Daled, yeah. Mashma mized l'rishus acher, osel ha'yitzia b'chol gavni. You're not allowed to carry it out any time. Aval haba achroinim eskimu da'afilu l'rishus acheres, shlo irvu im zeh or l'karmelis, shari l'haitzi b'fnei b'zoyin hameis. You're allowed to carry it out because of b'zoyin hameis. Now, if you look at the Bi'alacha, the Cholzer Boisei Rishus, he says, "I am Mishnah Berurah Seif Katan Daled, Mashma Kasafti, Mashma Mizeh, Can't be a Magen Avram. It's not some Mechaber. The Magen Avram learns the Mechaber. They now let it carry out into a different rishus. The Chem Mashma Bir Agro, so the Farish can't ask some Mechaber. So person can Rambam. So Hut b'fnei Kvoit Abrius, Rak Shachayim is Bazan Aideizer. The only time you're matter to carry it out into a different rishus is only if there's Kvoit HaChayim. As Kvoit HaMeis, we're not matter. Chomashakasa B'reish Siv Beis. Chomashakasa B'reish Abru Hava Achreinim Heim. They argue on this, and they hold even in the Surah HaMeis, he's allowed to carry it out to different rishus. Heim, Halavush, Babach, Bataz, Batesh Shabbos, Valirabo, Chep Primigodim, Eshel Avram, Mataz, Gam Kenochi. The Seif. Ube'emes, the Dibbe HaMachaber Atzma B'Seif Siv Beis, Shekosab Huadin Ebu B'Bezoyin Achek Egoyin, Shohei B'Svira, V'chein Chol Kriyetze B'Zer, Muchach L'Hedya, the Huadin L'Inyan Seifes HaMeis, L'Garam Izeh. This is the deed the Taz has, that's Masha from the Taz, from the Mechaber and Siv Beis, that you are allowed to carry it out to different rishus by B'Zoyin. And look at this brackets here. Umasha Docha Magen Avram, Teshamu B'Zoyin Gadol, Hudochuk L'Ma'oid. So it's a big doichik to say such a teretz. To the Hapachu, when she calls him a Shabbos. It's the opposite. There's a bigger B'Zoyin if it's going to get burnt than if it's around Akum. So right away, the Mr. Bruder Bialacha says he doesn't like the Magen Avram's chiluk, and therefore we go with the Mechaber and Siv Beis that says that because the Bezoyin HaMeis, you're allowed to move it Mishus Yochel L'Shus Rabim. V'alkein on the Mechrachim Leimar Be'echad B'Shnei Eila. How do we answer it? Oida Rambam B'Atzma Yoid L'Inyan D'Leika B'Meis T'Mutla Tzilu Shut Acheres Meshchos L'Teshavos M'Godim or that the Mechaber himself is chayzer. So if you have time, you see the rest of the Bialacha. But the Bialacha basically holds, like the Taz, he paskins that way, that you're allowed to carry it l'rishus l'rishus, even for Kvoid HaMeis. Not just for Kvoid HaChayim, even for Kvoid HaMeisim, you're allowed to carry it l'rishus l'rishus. That's what we have to know from the Bialacha. Okay, let's see Siv Beis now. Meisha Sriach. A meis is starting to rot and is starting to smell the bias. The nimtum is bazar bein achayim, v'hem is bazar mimenu. And it comes out that even the chayim are uncomfortable with it. Says the Magen Avram, says the Ramah, Yeshem afil lo yisriach adayin, el tzekarav lahasriach. Even though it didn't start rotting, but it's going to start rotting soon. Then mutal ha'tziyah lekarmelis, you're allowed to carry it out into a karmelis. So now, according to the Taz and the other Achreinim, this is going on the whole Siv Aleph also. According to the Magen Avram, this is only going on for Achayim. If you're a place to go out, and then go out. So from here is mashma that it's only that's called Achayim. Here's mashma like the Magen Avram. So if you have a place to go out, you're mechuyev to go out and leave the mace there, because then there's no Kvoid HaChayim. So if you look at the Magen Avram Siv Kol Hey, Shekarav L'Hasriach, the Dafra de Kikar Tinuk. You're allowed to carry him out only at the Kikar Tinuk. Avol Yilak Kikar Tinuk, also you're not allowed to carry him out. The Chemidu Yoytze Be'isr Tiltul Be'isr Eitzah. Here's the opposite. We're more machmer on tiltul than we're machmer on reitzah. We're not makel tiltul to do tiltul without a kikar tinuk. And here the Achreinim are bothered that before the Magen Avram said the opposite, that we're more makel on tiltul than reitzah. So the Lush Yisrael brings down over here. Look at the Lush Yisrael. I said it very quickly, very briefly. He says over here, Magen Avram Siv Katan Hey. The Isser Ha'itza, Kosher. The Mesif Katan Gimel, Kosher Magen Avram, Behepach. The Magen Avram writes the opposite. They won't make on Tiltal, they'll make on Ha'itza. Vayim Primigodim, Beer, Kibalashit, Zu, Shehevi, Ramah, Khan, Hein, Spirul Lay, the Chemidu Yesef, and Tiltal, Ayin Shabayach. So Machlaikas. Staka machlokes if we're more makel on tiltal or itzah. Here, this Ramah is going with that shita that holds more makel on itzah than by tiltal. And the shita before was the opposite. The way the Magen Avram learned the mechaber before that itzah is aser, that's going with those shitas that hold there were more makel on tiltal than itzah. But over here, he's going with the shitas that were more makel on itzah than tiltal. Now, we spoke out before, why are we more makel on tiltal than itzah? We have a svara. Because tiltal is ikra midrabanan, itzah is ikra midoraisa.
Yeah, but the svara is the exact opposite also.
What's the opposite?
In other words, what are you saying? In other words, when you have a svara that says that it's deraisa, you're saying because it's deraisa, itzah is deraisa.
Ikra deraisa, even though this case is derabanan, but the chi of itzah is deraisa. So that's where we're more machmer.
Is deraisa.
But in tiltal, where there's never a tiltal deraisa, the whole tiltal is only with derabanan, we're more makel. That's a good spot to makel on tiltal than by itzah. But here we see the opposite. For makel on itzah, more than makel on tiltal. Why should that be?
It says it just doesn't.
Why should that be?
It's not.
It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. Why are makel by itzah more than tiltal? They're both derabanans. Tiltal doesn't have an ikra midaraisa. Itzah has an ikra deraisa. So why should you be more makel by itzah than by tiltal? What's the svara for it?
What's the name?
So the Magen Avraham doesn't say the svara here. But the Mishnah Berurah brings down a svara.
That's what I was going to say. In other words, by the Haitzah, the assumption is that you have a Malach Shenetri for the Gufa. What do you have?
It's still, it's a Derabanan. As far as Malach Shenetri for the Gufa, that's a Derabanan, I'd say.
Right.
Even if it's just a Rabbin. But still, Ikra Midaraisa. Haitzah has a din Deraisa. You're always going to end up being over the Rabbanon. Tiltal and Itzah. The Kamas, which is Rabbi, even if it's Rafa Tzichl Gufa, whatever you have, you always end up with the Mitzvah Rabbanon. So why should you be more machmir by Tiltal than by Itzah? Itzah is Ikra Midaraisa, and Tiltal is not.
This is why they use the kicker on the tinnik. By Tiltal.
By Tiltal, yes. But why if there's no kicker at tinnik, are we not makel? If you look at the Bia Halacha where it's Hatalem Klal, he gives a svara. I think the Mishnah Berurah also says it someplace, but I can't find it now. But the Bia Halacha definitely says it over here. Lo Hatalem Klal. If you don't have a kicker tinuk, we're not makel to be metaltal it. If I fill it after mud, the makel the stomach like sear the carmelit, which is quite a brias. But kamakam in tiltal ba'isa v'shus. The kula alma also with a kicker v'tinuk. Everyone agrees tiltal will not makel without a kicker v'tinuk. Why? Mishum daitzah heichadu mukrach lazeh. To carry it out where you have no choice, there's no way of doing it in a different way. Carry it out. Masha'enke the Indian tiltal after the takune al piroiv by the kicker v'tinuk. Most of the situations by tiltal, they find something to put by the mace to carry it on its kicker v'tinuk. Well, the kaf loy plug, a fill the heichel the loy, right? Loy plug. Since most of the times we gave an eitzah, kicker v'tinuk. You may have a situation where you can't find the kicker v'tinuk. Loy plug, we said you always need the kicker v'tinuk. Haitzah, we have no eitzah, have to carry it out. Then you have to. Then there's Mekel. If you look at the last line in the Bia Halacha, from the Isser Tiltal Chomer Me Isser Haitzah LeKarmelis Taisha Shabbos B'Shem HaPoiskim. Some people say that the Rabbanan of Tiltal is more Chomer than the Rabbanan of a Karmelis. I'm not sure why. So you see, there is a svara that tiltal were more machmir than I saw. Even though I saw it at Ikam Daraisa, still it could be more makel on tiltal.
But the
On
we have a specific, there should be a kicker in our tinnik.
Yes,
otherwise you cannot.
Right. So they said, look, most of the times you can have a kicker tinnik, therefore use a kicker tinnik.
So those who have the sort of Hotzar is more common than
the Carmelist is more common than kicker tinnik.
Right, so they would also, even if you're doing Hotzar, you should also have a kicker tinnik.
We'll see. That's the next halacha.
Yeah.
That's fine. Let's see.
Right.
Is this because the Chachamim they give chizuk to their
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Because that would.
I didn't see it.
Sometimes you.
Yeah. By the Rabbana, sometimes more than. Yeah, but it doesn't say. I'm not sure. I have to check it up. And I might check it up. Like I got caught up with something. I forgot about. But to be a locha brings down for Tasha Shabbos that there's a tzad that tiltal is more chomer than a tzar l'karmelis. I didn't check it out today.
That's where it says. The same way that you do with the dleka, that you're afraid that you're actually going to put up the dleka. Maybe because you do starting tiltal, you're going to come to do Hotzar. So they want you to be careful. That's
more machmer tiltal. Maybe.
Yeah.
I remember that's not the reason why. I think the Shabbos says in tiltal in itself is more chomer than not to say or something else. Tiltal in itself is more chomer than a tzar l'karmelis. I have to check it out, boy. But I didn't check it out. Okay. So the Mechaber says that you're allowed to carry out into a carmelis, and this is the Rabbanon. But if you have a place to go, then you're not allowed to carry it out. Now, v'yesh ha'imrim, shleitiru l'haitzia the carmelis, we weren't matzah to carry it out into a carmelis, ela ayde kicker atinik. Only with the kicker atinik. V'yesh mishayimrim, shakol samatzia the carmelis, mutiv l'haitzia shaloi b'kicker v'atinik adevamad v'aitzah. Meaning, comes an interesting thing over here. Everyone agrees that in the chutzner itself, we had before, Seif Aleph, we're not changing from Seif Aleph. In the chutzner itself, you're not allowed to carry it without a kicker atinik. You're not allowed to. If you want to move from one place to the next place, in the chutzner itself, you must have a kicker atinik. But when you're carrying it out into a carmelis, here it's a machlokes. We do it so, here it's a machlokes. That since we're not matter tilted that kicker atinik, so how are you going to start? Therefore, you have to have a kicker atinik, or no? Now that you're carrying it out into a carmelis, it's better not to have a tzah. Better not to have the kicker atinik. So now we end up being makel on the tilted also, which is a chiddush.
So are there three shitas or two? So, like, when we see here the Yesh Misha Aimer, then you have the Yesh Misha Mater. L'chayra, the Yesh Misha Mater, wasn't that the Mechaber?
No, the Mechaber didn't say anything about how you do it. The Mechaber just said he carried out. Yeah, that's how.
But it can only be one of the next two.
Yeah.
So which one is the
No, the Mechaber is bringing that you gotta carry it out. How do you carry it out? The machlokes. The Mechaber is saying.
So it's not three sheets.
Not three sheets. No, two sheets. Yeah, two sheets.
Because usually what happens is he'll say his, and then there's going to be yesh.
Right.
How?
All right. No, here's the first one. It says we're sorry about.
That's what we were saying this morning. So three sheets or two.
It's two sheets really.
No,
it's only two sheets.
Sometimes if you have somewhere within the chutzner you can put them down, you put them down there and you actually go out. The first thing he's saying is, first of all, is if you have somewhere to put the mace, don't actually take him to the car. To the car. It comes out
of chiddush. According to Yesh Mishamata, it comes out of a very big chiddush. You have a mace in a chutzner. You have a place to put it in the chutzner someplace else. You don't have a kicker atinik, you're not allowed to move him. You're not allowed to move him. If it happens to be you don't have a place to put him down in the chutzner, only in the carmelis next door, then you're allowed to take him out. That's what comes out. Even that kicker atinik, that's what comes out.
Yeah.
So you should say, what do you mean? So now, I'm as if I don't have a place to put him down in my chutzner, so let me take him out the carmelis.
So it all comes down to whether you're looking at Hotzar or Tilton.
Yeah. So But it comes out to
if you're going to do Hitzah, then you really don't need to.
Right, but it comes in a Chiddush. If you think about it, it comes in, I'm stuck with a situation here, right? I have here a mace and a chutzner. I don't have a kicker atinik.
Right.
So now, if I can move him to a different place in the chutzner, I'm not allowed to move him.
Correct.
If I can't move him to another place in the chutzner, I'm allowed to carry him out to a carmelis.
Yes, this you can.
Right, I'm allowed to do that.
Yeah.
So why we look at it now as if when I'm in my chutzner, I have no place to move in my chutzner. I don't have a kicker atinik.
Well, why should you look at that? I mean, he's in the chutzner.
Yeah, but I can't move him now.
Okay.
What's the chiluk if I can't move him because I don't have a kicker atinik?
You have to go by the operating. In other words, are you dealing with Tzot or dealing with Tzot?
Right.
Are you dealing with Tzot, then you can't move.
I'm saying, but if you look at it in a, I would say a lomdish way, I don't know if that's the right terminology, but right now I have no place to move in my chutzner. I have no place to move in my chutzner. I don't have a kicker atinik. I'm not allowed to move him. So I have no place to move in my chutzner. So I move him out to the carmelis. You're not allowed to do that.
But it's even better that we don't have a kicker. You can take it out to the carmelis.
If you have a mace in a chutzner,
Right.
you don't have a kicker atinik, you're now allowed to move him to another place in the chutzner.
Right.
But you can move him out.
But you're allowed to move him outside into the carmelis
Without.
without a kicker atinik. If I have no place to move, let's say I have no place to move in my chutzner, only to a carmelis, I don't have a kicker atinik, now I'm allowed to move him out to the carmelis. If I have another place to move my chutzner, we have no heter to move him out to the carmelis, then I'm not allowed to move him because I don't have a kicker atinik.
Right.
Why don't you say, when I don't have a kicker atinik, it's as if I have no place to move him in the chutzner. Look at I have no place to move him now.
But that isn't.
We don't say that.
You don't, because it's the same thing.
Being not allowed to move him is different than having another place.
Yeah, but both of them I can't move him.
Yeah.
No, we don't look at it that way. It's a little chiddush.
So, but
They have a chakira. I remember there's a chakira. I was in yeshiva there. They always had a chakira. And it says that if you have Ner Chanukah and Ner Shabbos, so Ner Shabbos is kodim. Ner Shabbos comes first because someone buys. If you have, but for Ner Shabbos, the halacha is you don't have to be moichik susa. You have to sell your clothing to get neighbors for Shabbos. But for Ner Chanukah, you have to be moichik susa. For Ner Chanukah, you have to sell the clothing in order to get Ner Chanukah.
Right.
That's the halacha. So let's say somebody has one sock. He can buy one candle. That's all he has. The halacha is he has to sell the sock to buy Ner Chanukah. Right? So he goes and he sells the sock and he buys a Ner Chanukah. Now he has a Ner. The halacha is Ner Shabbos before Ner Chanukah. So should he use that Ner for Shabbos or for Chanukah?
No, why did for Chanukah?
Right? That was the chakira. How do you look at it? This is machlokes. This is not exactly how you look at this. Same thing over here. How do I look at this? I cannot move it out. I cannot move it out. Right now I'm in a situation where I can't move it out. I can't move it out. I'm in a situation where I'm not allowed to move it out. No, you look at it, you could move it. You could move it to the top and cells in the chutzner. If you're not allowed to move it, kicker atinik. So if I can't move it in the chutzner, I'm allowed to move it out to the carmelis. No, but since you have an eitzah to move it in the chutzner, but I can't do it, so it's as if. That's how you look at it. Maybe you should look at it. I don't have a place to move it in the chutzner now. I'm not sure what the halacha is. I was just saying the halacha probably is you're not allowed to move it. It could be some achayim will say, no, now it's as if you can't move it in the chutzner, so you're allowed to move it out to the carmelis without thinking of it. But the problem is, once you're allowed to move it, so why move it to the carmelis? Move it to the chutzner in the other place where you're allowed to move it to.
No, but
that's what you say. Someone's going to say you're allowed to move it out to the carmelis.
But that's
right, because you're stuck. You have no place to move it. But now that I'm moving it, so Mechates has to move it out to the carmelis. We're different than Rabbanan. Just move it to someplace else in the chutzner because without a kicker atinik.
Because when you move it out there, you're over of tiltul.
Yeah, but I'm allowed to move it out to the carmelis.
Yeah. This yes, but in the chutzner, there's a question of tiltul.
And outside to move it out, there's no issue of tiltul.
Yeah. Now, can I take it out and then bring it
homework.
back?
This is homework for the island.
Can I take it out and then, because I can take it out, so I take it out and then I can bring it back into the chutzner and put it somewhere else.
Wow. But you can't bring it out and get back in the chutzner. Let's just let's even say someone's going to say it's mutter because you're allowed to take it out to the carmelis, But now, once I'm taking out the cameras, let me just move it in the chutzner itself. That's a good thing.
You can, because the whole idea of seeing bay is bizon ha'chaim. So what you're saying is, if you're in a chutzner, and anyway you...
No, you can move someplace else in the chutzner.
What?
You can move it someplace else in the chutzner, or people bizon ha'chaim.
I'm saying, so the whole idea is maybe behind this, the matter by basically up for a size, basically saying there's nowhere place, even if you had a kikar but there's nowhere to put it. So the mace in the chutzner because it's still going to be bizon ha'chaim.
No, so let's say you can put someplace that won't be bizon ha'chaim. You can put it in a room and lock it up in the chutzner. Not bizon ha'chaim. What's the shaila? Shaila, we have to check into it. What's the halacha if you have a mace in a chutzner without a kicker or tinnik?
But we go back to Arab, which is we don't go out of this so that you can move it in the same shoes.
No, not for chamo, if they had leiker.
Right.
I'm talking about Messiah, if they had chamo. Or if they had leiker, let it move in the same shoes. But if it's a fnei chamo, you're not allowed to move without a kicker or tinnik. It's also, you have to leave it there. Right, and the Sifal said, if they're chama, you're not allowed to move it in the chutzner without a kicker or tinnik. So halacha is, in the chutzner, you're not allowed to move it without a kicker or tinnik. The Yesh Ayrim hold over here, when you're moving it to a carmelis, you're better off moving it without a kicker or tinnik. So the question is, according to that Yesh Ayrim, I don't have a kicker or tinnik, I'm in a chutzner. But I have a place to move it in the chutzner, I'm not allowed to move it there. Am I allowed to move it out into the carmelis without a kicker or tinnik? I'll check into it, and I'll leave the others to check into it also.
The thing is there's V'yesh Omer, V'yesh Misha Omer, meaning the V'yesh Omer is the...
Yeah, we said that. We're going with the Yesh Misha Omer. That's what the Yesh Misha Omer, that it's better to carry without a kicker or tinnik.
No, wait. The V'yesh Omer Shroi Tulo Tirka is Ela Al Yedei Kikar Tino.
That's the Yesh.
V'yesh Omer Shroi Tulo Tirka is Ela Al Yedei Kikar Tino.
Right.
Misha Omer...
Yeah, I'm talking about the Yesh Misha Omer. I'm talking about the Yesh Misha Omer. The Mishnah passes that way. The Mishnah passes like the Yesh Misha Omer, I think. Mutter lahaitzi, Siv contest. I got a rabbi said Chriya Kedei Rishayna, so to have a place in Sevim Kemoisa. Sorry, Dei Rishayna. He said. Oh, we'll come up and near a leak. So ain't like kicker of a tinnik. Mutter lahaitzi, apple like kicker of a tinnik. The apple Dei Rishayna ain't achra shuhu leikuva. Did I take it out to a carolus? Okay, that'll be the shiloh here. We'll get back to the shiloh maybe next week.
Yes, I think you do need to.
Okay, let's just finish. Yes, we should matter the see after the shusarabim. You know what? We'll leave this for next week already because it's a little complicated. But in these two sheets, let's just see the Magen Avram here. If you could go out, you're not allowed to take it out. The lecture covered a chayim for a mace. Not like a kivich and munach makom she'ain royin. V'oich a kvar esriach. If he's already esriach, there's no more kvar hameis. Tas a tur him who karev la esriach. If it's gonna start to rot, afulu yeshna makom lotzes mutar la tziyai b'fnei shelo esriach. That's a tur who holds like the Ramah that even though it wasn't Masriach yet, but it's gonna be Masriach, also you're allowed to move it. Sifkan Ches, Elai de Kicker, Taitza, the Efshel Tekune Shari, I will tilt to Efshel Tekune, the Kicker, Misakin Nina, Mium, Einloi, Kicker, Tinuk, Shari, the Rambam, or La Tur, Rambam, sorry, La Tur, also this is taught like Tinuk, like Kicker, Tinuk.
So this is the source of the Bir Halacha, as far as.
So what?
You just gave it before.
Yeah.
That's
correct.
That's where it's coming from.
That's where it's coming from. In the Chama, yes.
And the Mishnah Berurah brings it down also.
Over here, yeah. So that's all if we're taking it out to a carmelist. So Rosh Hashanah we'll see next week. Rosh Hashanah is another problem with the Issa Deraisa, but it could be Issa Deraisa because it's blocked by Tzukah Legufo. Next week. But we also have to come out with the terrace to the Shiloh of moving it into Rosh Hashanah itself. Well, next week, I may not be able to give share next week, I'm not sure yet. Let's watch out for the emails. I'm not sure, my parents are going for Shabbos, I have to drive to the airport, and I may not be able to make it to the share.
Mazel tov.
So we'll see what happens.